Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes Mr. Garcia for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Ranking Member, and thank you, Secretary Buttigieg, for being here today. From the passage of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act in 2021 to today, there's been an immense amount of investment and steady, sometimes slow progress towards our infrastructure goals for the country. As we look to fiscal year 2025, I'm hopeful that we can build on this progress and continue to make transportation safer, equitable, and cleaner. Chicagoland is home to the nation's largest rail network. All the Class 1 railroads, as you know, traverse through Chicago, and my district has countless rail-grade crossings, rail yards, and rail workers. As such, rail safety is a huge priority for my constituents, and with the recently released NTSB report on the East Palestine derailment, it's a reminder that we must continue to press this issue. Secretary Buttigieg, I know that rail safety has been a focus for DOT in recent years, but there's yet to be a comprehensive rail safety changes at the federal level. In addition to the recommendations for more inspections, infrastructure improvements, and better emergency plans, what's being done to ensure that rail workers aren't put in harm's way?
Thank you for the question. As you noted, this is a central focus for us. We've sought to do everything that we can do short of an act of Congress in order to enhance rail safety. Two recent measures I would point to that we think are particularly important is our rule on minimum crew size. Most Americans would probably be shocked to discover that until we acted, there was no rule saying that you had to have more than one person, even on a 2-mile-long train. And the Class 1 rail corporations seem to prefer it that way. We thought it was very important to do this. We also recently finalized a rule requiring emergency escape breathing apparatus to be available for train crews and other employees as they're transporting hazardous materials, and cleared up the information railroads need to provide to community first responders about hazardous materials. But we urgently need legislation from this chamber and the Senate in order to raise the bar and give us more capabilities. A lot of people in this chamber had a lot to say about rail safety a year and a half ago in the wake of East Palestine. I hope that they will end their silence on this topic now and join you and others in insisting that there be action because with the NTSB report now complete, there is really, in my view, no remaining excuse for inaction when we need that legislation.
Thank you, and I'm going to try to do 2 more questions, so brevity would be appreciated. How is the FRA encouraging participation in its confidential closed call reporting system, and what can we do to get more rail lines to participate?
In short, there's been a lot of phone calls, a lot of letters, and a lot of pressure to urge the Class 1 railroads to honor their commitment to join that system. So far, we have brought Norfolk Southern on board with a pilot covering approximately 1,000 of their employees at several sites. And BNSF in April agreed to join as well with an agreement covering about 650 of their employees represented by the Dispatchers Association. But we would like to see participation at 100% and would welcome opportunities to work with you to drive that up.
Thank you. Fiscal cliff that transit agencies are facing nationwide. Our local Metropolitan Agency for Planning, also known as CMAP, has developed a visionary plan for action. Transit, as you know, is a fundamental cog that keeps communities like mine moving. Cutting service would have disproportionate impacts on those who rely on it. Secretary, what is USDOT? How are you supporting metropolitan planning organizations to rethink public transit and commuter rail systems as the funding cliff approaches?
Transit is so important to so many Americans. It provided 7.1 billion trips in 2023, and we've got to make sure they can stay ahead of these looming fiscal challenges. In addition to engaging MPOs, as you mentioned, I also want to note that the President's 2025 budget proposes flexibilities that would allow transit agencies to use urbanized area formula funds and flex funds for operating expenses. We think that that flexibility may be helpful for certain agencies as they try to bridge that gap.
Thank you very much. Yield back, Madam Chair.